What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast now. I'm Alex, and a slight update on the Sly Cooper, I don't even know, saga that we've all been experiencing so far. This comes from that special Nick. He's the one that, I've really, I've kind of given my soul to. I've given all of my, okay, you know what, I'm gonna sink or swim, with you. He's the one that goes all the way back to, right, we had 4chan with the leaks that Sly 5 was in development at Sucker Punch. Then it moved its way over to Reddit. And then he confirmed on Reddit that Sly 5, and he made it very clear, Sly 5 is happening. Then, a couple weeks later, he again confirmed, it is Sly 5, and, it's very early in development. Like, that's why there's really not a lot to be said on it. Well, when I'm recording this today, so yesterday, your guys' time, he took to Twitter this time, which is great. I like Twitter more than maybe Reddit or 4chan. And he said, "Hey, Sly fans, I guess some good news. My normal Sony source was originally told by a newer source, just confirmed to me that Sly is indeed coming back. That's it. That's all. Just an update, since many of you still DM me to this day." And I'm sure people do. And you know what? I will say, let me just quickly throw this in there. I'm not saying, like, attack the guy or harass the guy. In fact, do the exact opposite. Do not do that. But I think what that shows right there is just incredible passion. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen for other games or other franchises, but I just think I think imagining that he gets, like, at least one message every single day from different people asking about Sly is exciting. I think just shows kind of where we are, that, like, we're ready. The community has been ready for a long time. It's Sony that, for whatever reason, right, has just slept on it for an eternity. So, I just like to kind of imagine that. So, a couple things, I guess, to say to this. Well, number one, I'm glad he clarified. I'm glad now. Really, what we have here, right, is two sources. So he had the original source, like he said, was a newer source. Now that's kind of a little scary because he didn't say that back then when he said, like, Sly 5 is for sure happening. Like, he's betting on it. Like he's putting his. If it's wrong, it's going to hurt his credibility. So he's putting his credibility on it. He never said, this is from a new guy. I met him last week. Like, he never said that stuff. So maybe it's a little worrying now, but at the same time, it probably isn't. But now he's told from his normals. And I guess you guys will have to watch the past videos. I've talked about this guy, this special Nick, before. He's one of the better leakers out there. We've talked about kind of his resume in past videos. I think even, like, Reddit has done kind of like bios on specific leakers in terms of what they get right, like how trustworthy they are. And he's very, he's up there. So that's just, I guess, to make it clear in case people, haven't been following along. And then I guess the one thing that I want to know, now I tweeted him, he didn't answer me when I'm recording this, but he says, "Confirm to me that Sly is indeed coming back." So what I guess I don't like about it, and he did not confirm this or comment on this in any of the thread, people that replied to him, he didn't respond and answered this question to any of them. What does that mean? He said indeed coming back. So I said coming back is in Sly 5 or just a remake/remaster. I know original source said Sly 5, just checking is all. That's what I tweeted to him. I'd really love for him to, answer me back. And that's, I guess, like, based off what we know, I do think it's just Sly 5. I guess I'm just kind of worried. Maybe it's that Sly, just because of, again, like how we're constantly beaten into submission, the Sly Cooper fan base, that maybe, once we see just a shred of negativity here, and it's not even all that negative, but when we see a little negativity, all of a sudden, like, we're crazy. But here's the deal, people made a good point in his thread, in his, responses or his replies, like, again, the logo in that PlayStation event. I mean, they teased a lot of stuff in that, that chess kind of match that they were doing in the beginning of the PlayStation Showcase. I mean, they teased so many different things, and a lot of them are all real and are coming and all of this stuff. And Sly, like, he was right there. Like, why do you show something like that if you're not going to do so? So I guess. But again, I think people are on board with that. So I guess the thing that I'm worried about, and maybe people are at least, like, talking about, right, is that kind of divide. Is it a remaster/a remake, or is it Sly 5? Now, again, the first two, he's only talked about it in terms of tweets, in terms of Reddit, in terms of literally anything he's ever said in his life about Sly, okay? He's talked about it 3 times. The first 2, he specifically said Sly 5, with the number 5, okay? This third time, he just said Sly is coming back. No mention to And like, I guess my thing, and maybe I'm just reading into it too much, and so somebody can stop me in the comments. Maybe I'm just reading into it, but like, how hard would it have been to say the source said it's Sly 5 instead of Sly is indeed coming back? Why couldn't you have said, like, Sly 5 is happening? You know, I mean, it's just it's small word choices or, switches that he would have had to do. So, I hope that doesn't mean that the original source, they were right, like, Sly is returning, but it's not 5, it's like a remake or it's a remaster. And then this guy's saying, yeah, that's right, like, Sly is absolutely coming back. And like, that's all he said. Or maybe, you see, I've watched some of his stuff, like on the Xbox podcast. He'll sometimes like read through the DMs, and there'll be like kind of weird word choices of what the source will tell him, or what the source will tell him to say or not to say, stuff like that. So it's very possible the source literally said it like word for word like that. He could have asked, hey, what's going on with Sly? And the source said, Sly is coming back. And like, so he doesn't say Sly 5, the source doesn't say Sly 5, the source doesn't say remaster or remake. So really all we're left with then is the first guy, that for the first, maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. So, I don't know. I want to fully believe it's Sly 5. I think you don't. I said this years ago, when I first started making Sly stuff. I said it back then. I'll still say it now. I do not believe you need to do a remake. Now, will I take a remake or a remaster? Of course I will. Or like a collection, 100%. Okay. But what I've always said is I don't think you need that to kind of jumpstart the franchise again. You see games like Crash. I mean, really, like Crash started, right? Even Crash and Spyro. Like, but what was the idea? Well, they've been gone for so long that truly you could probably infer that people still like them, so you can make a brand new game. But the idea is, well, let's test to see if people still do like the franchise. So let's remake it, because it's the same game, but it's like a new polish. It comes out in like right now in the new year, not 20 years ago, and let's see how people respond. That was the idea. Now Sly has been gone for almost a decade, but I just feel it hasn't been that long, and I think the fan base has probably proven itself. Now, you could maybe say the same thing for Crash. Like, maybe there was a fan base online for Crash that existed with the Insane, right before the Insane trilogy came out. But I just think we're at a point with Sly where you could jump directly to a Sly 5, and you would have to make it kind of like a reboot, like a reboot sequel, kind of like what you've done with like movies like Scream or Pirates, right? Where like it's inviting to new people, but it does continue the story of the past, which includes Sly 4, right? Like, I think you could do it, and it could work. You know what I mean? I don't think you have to remake it and say, okay, do people still care about Sly Cooper? Of course they care. Of course, you're just slowing it down. At that point, again, I'll take a remake, but in reality, if you did a remake first, it's like, okay, well, now we have to buy the remake, which is fine, and we'll play it. But then it's like, okay, now you have to wait 3 more years. So now we're talking like 4, 5, 6 years. Then we get Sly 5. When it's like, people just want Sly 5, and I think it'll do fine. Like, I think it'll sell. And I guess maybe that's cockiness. Maybe that's me. Maybe it won't sell, but that's just what I think right now. So, again, good to hear about it. Good just for that reconfirmation that, like, we are going to get something Sly related eventually. It's just now, now we got a third of the time, 1 out of 3 times that it hasn't been mentioned, it hasn't been talked about as Sly 5. It's just Sly. So that makes me a little worried. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, so you can stop me in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, all that good stuff. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for all of them are in the description below. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.